the heart of this nation, under skies so blue,
there's a spirit that's stirring, values strong and true.
from the mountains to the prairies, from the cities to the sea, we stand for liberty, for faith and family. We're diving deep into the heart of what we believe.
Welcome to Deep Dive Podcast Show, everyone. Today, we're diving into a really eye-opening and frankly pretty shocking report from the Government Accountability Office, or GAO. It shines a spotlight on something many taxpayers probably worry about: fraud in our federal programs, specifically Obamacare. What's the big headline, the main takeaway from this GAO investigation?
It's exactly as you say. Absolutely shocking. The GAO went undercover. They created these fictitious applications to try and enroll in Obamacare's federal health marketplace. And what they found was astounding. Over 95% of their fake enrollees were actually approved and received those federal subsidies. We're talking about taxpayer dollars, thousands of them every month going to insurance companies for people who simply don't exist. It really highlights how vulnerable the system is to widespread abuse, which is a major concern for anyone who cares about how our money is being spent.
Wow, 95% success rate for fake applications? That's incredibly high. It makes you wonder, how easy was it to pull off this fraud? Were there any checks and balances in place, or did the system just wave them through?
That's the troubling part. The report details just how simple it was. For instance, in some cases, the system initially flagged issues like problems with identity checks. But get this, after the GAO submitted fake identification documents, we're talking phony citizenship papers, those applications were then cleared. It's not just about identity either. In scenarios where they worked with brokers, those brokers, without the fake applicants even present, managed to get invalid social security numbers pushed through the marketplace call center. And often, the GAO didn't even have to provide the documentation requested, yet their fake applicants still received subsidized coverage. It really points to a system that's, not doing its job.
So the system failed to catch it, and sometimes even, it sounds like, made it easier. You mentioned brokers. Are they part of this problem, or just unwitting participants?
Unfortunately, it seems like both. There are perverse incentives at play here. Agents and brokers, you see, get commissions from insurance companies for every person they enroll, whether that person is real or not. So they have a financial motivation to push applications through. And the insurance companies themselves, they stand to gain a lot too, sometimes upwards of $10,000 per year per enrollee, even fake ones, paid for by taxpayers. It's a situation where the money is, to put it bluntly, up for grabs. And that creates a very dangerous dynamic where fraud can thrive, because people are directly benefiting from the lack of oversight.
That's a powerful point about perverse incentives. It's not just that the system is broken, but that certain players profit from its brokenness. Beyond these individual instances of fake IDs and broker involvement, did the GAO report reveal any broader systemic failures within the health marketplace's fraud detection?
Absolutely, and this is where it gets even more alarming. The report found that sometimes the fraud detection systems didn't just fail to catch fraud, they actually manufactured false verifications. There was one case where the federal marketplace confirmed an applicant's estimated income, supposedly based on documentation, but the GAO had submitted nothing, no documentation at all. Then there's the whole issue with social security numbers. The GAO couldn't find evidence of proper income reconciliation for a massive 32%. That's $21 billion of all tax credits paid in 2023. And it gets worse. They found over 29,000 social security numbers that got more than a year of coverage in 2023 and over 66,000 in 2024. This points to rampant duplicate enrollments, where one person or even one fake identity is getting multiple policies.
Duplicate enrollments. That sounds like a huge red flag that should be easily caught. Are there any examples that really stand out in terms of sheer scale?
Oh, there's one example that is frankly mind-boggling. The GAO discovered a single social security number that was used to receive subsidized insurance coverage for over 26,000 days. To put that in perspective, that's more than 71 years of coverage across over 125 different insurance policies, all in a single year. I mean, think about that for a second. How does one SSN get 71 years of coverage in just 1 year across so many policies without anyone noticing? It defies logic and screams massive system failure. It's not just a small loophole, it's a gaping hole that seems to invite this kind of large-scale fraud.
That's a staggering figure, truly unbelievable. What about even more basic checks, like confirming if an enrollee is actually alive? Surely that's not too much to ask.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But even that seems to be a challenge. The GAO identified over 7,000 instances where Social Security numbers used for Obamacare enrollments in 2023 belonged to individuals who had already been reported as deceased in the Social Security Administration's death files, some even before their enrollment applications. Despite this, payments were still made to brokers and health insurance companies for these deceased enrollees. It's a somber and incredibly frustrating detail that perfectly illustrates the profound lack of due diligence and reconciliation within the system. It means literally dead people were receiving coverage, funded by taxpayers, and no one caught it.
Unbelievable. This isn't just about fraud. It's also about a system that seems to be failing on multiple fundamental levels. You mentioned broker misconduct earlier. Was it just about helping fake applications, or were there other issues related to how brokers operated?
It went beyond just assisting fake applications. The report also highlighted brokers acting illegally by making unauthorized changes to individuals' insurance plans. These changes typically resulted in additional payments from an insurance company to the broker, without the individual's consent. The GAO identified at least 160,000 applicants, which is about 1.5% of relevant applicants, who likely had these kinds of unauthorized changes made to their plans in 2024. And it's not a new problem. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services received over 90,000 complaints in just the first 8 months of 2024 alone from people reporting their Obamacare plans were changed without their knowledge. So it's a pervasive issue impacting real people.
So people are not only paying for fraud, but their own plans are being messed with without their permission. This is clearly a huge problem within Obamacare. But is this an isolated issue, or does this kind of widespread fraud and improper payments extend to other federal programs as well?
Unfortunately, it's not isolated at all. The report emphasizes that fraud, abuse, and improper payments are a rampant issue across the entire federal government. They've been growing exponentially, in fact, right alongside the massive expansion in federal spending. Just last year, the federal government identified a staggering $162 billion in improper payments across the programs it actually bothered to examine. But that's a massive understatement. For example, some analyses suggest that Medicare's reported improper payments are actually half of their realistic total, which could be as high as $1.1 trillion over the past decade. So what we're seeing in Obamacare is really just a symptom of a much larger systemic problem across many federal initiatives, where taxpayer money is simply not being accounted for properly.
That really puts it into perspective. $162 billion is an immense amount of money, and to hear it might be an understatement is truly disheartening. So what can be done? What are the practical steps lawmakers can take to address this widespread issue of fraud and improper payments, not just in Obamacare, but across the board? There are concrete steps lawmakers must take to protect taxpayer money. First, they need to stop extending what were supposed to be temporary COVID-19 subsidies that have essentially exploded in costs and are further subsidizing insurance companies' profits without adequate oversight. More broadly, there needs to be a much stronger commitment to auditing these programs properly, ensuring that the reported figures on improper payments are accurate and not just lowball estimates. Ultimately, a key part of the solution involves right-sizing the federal government. The more programs there are and the larger they become, the more opportunities fraudsters have to exploit weaknesses and steal taxpayer money. So it's about better oversight, tighter controls, and a more focused approach to government spending overall. It's about accountability, really, for every dollar spent. Better oversight, tighter controls, and right-sizing the government. Those sound like essential steps to tackle this problem. Speaker 2, thank you for breaking down this incredibly important and disturbing report for us today. It truly highlights where our taxpayer dollars are going, and often where they're being lost.
My pleasure. It's a conversation we definitely need to keep having. Please do us a favor and share, like, and subscribe.